Hello everyone, my name is Sarafi and I'm happy to meet you all. And today we have new 6 Samurai cards to talk about. The new 6 Samurai cards have been announced for, what's it called? Rise of the Abyss, I think is the name of the set. And they're really interesting and a lot of fun, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about these. Let's see. So, we've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 new cards. Let's go ahead and take a look at each one and see what we think. So, first we have Anarchist Monk of the Sixth Samurai. This is a level 3 Dark Tuner monster. It has 500 attack points, and its effect says you can only special summon with the first effect of this card's name once per turn. You can only use the second and third effect of this card's name each once per turn. So, if you control a 6 Samurai monster other than this monster, you can special summon this card from your hand once per turn. Pretty good. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, including for synchro material, you can add one 6 Samurai quick play spell from your deck to your hand. And lastly, a 6 Samurai monster synchro summon using this card as material gains this effect as a lingering effect. The levels of all monsters your opponent controls are reduced by 1. That is very interesting. So it's a level 3 tuner, and it gives an extra effect to any 6 Samurai monster you use to make, as long as it's a synchro monster. So you can make this with, you can make your Shien with this, the monster that negates a spell every turn, or one of the new monsters, and it will reduce the level of every monster your opponent controls by 1 all the time. This will completely destroy Xyz decks, it will completely destroy synchro decks. People will just have a lot of problems figuring out how they can make non-link decks and non-fusion decks work. It also hurts ritual decks. So this ability that you have just attached to another monster, which already has its own effects, it probably already is a good card to play, it's just devastating. And it's really easy for people to forget influence effects. So they might forget where it's coming from, they might forget why it's being applied, and by the time they try and remove your 6 Samurai monster, which, by the way, there are cards that protect 6 Samurai from being destroyed or removed from the field, they might already not have enough materials left to actually make anything relevant. So this is really good. I mean, obviously links are still going to be a problem, but there are a lot of powerful synchro and Xyz monsters that you can avoid altogether with this card. So I'm really excited to see this card see play. It only applies to 6 Samurai monsters that are synchro summoned as well, so it's not like you could put this on a card like Borreload's Savage Dragon if it was still in the game, or name another synchro negate card like, I don't know, Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend, I don't know, that's not a good example either. I'm sorry, I'm tired. I just got done streaming. But it's a good card, and you could still use this to make other cards like Silvera, but if you make it with 6 Samurai, then it has a really good effect. So I like this card. I think this card is probably going to be very highly played in 6 Samurai moving forward. Next up, we have Rokubishu no why am I reading the Japanese version? Instructor of the 6 Samurai, level 2. Tuner monster. Is Earth. 200 attack, 1200 defense. You can only special summon this card with the first effect of this card's name once per turn. You can only use the second and third effects of this card's name once each per turn. If you control a 6 Samurai monster other than Instructor, you can special summon this card from your hand. Great. More special summons, more Bushido counters on your Gateway of the 6. That's what you want. It's an easy Synchro 5, and again, that's what you want, so great. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add one 6 strike card from your deck to your hand. That's interesting. A 6 strike card. What is that? Well, we'll see in a moment. And then lastly, a 6 Samurai monster synchro summon using this card as material gains this effect. Monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack points. That is not nearly as good. Sure, you will potentially keep your monsters from being destroyed in battle, but the battle phase is very irrelevant these days. So I guess it's a good card to make if you're going second, just to give you some extra opportunity to destroy cards, because 6 Samurai lacks the ability to really destroy monsters with card effects. That's not the worst thing in the world, I suppose, but it would just be better if maybe your 6 Samurai monsters had more attack points. But we might see something like that moving forward. Next up we have Legendary Klesha 6 Samurai Shien. This is a level 6 Dark Warrior Synchro monster with 2500 attack points and 1900 defense points. It requires a Warrior Tuner monster and one or more non-tuner 6 Samurais. So this is not a generic card by any stretch of the imagination. You're going to make this in 6 Samurai and nothing else. You can only use the first effect of this card's name once per turn. If this card is Synchro Summon, you can add one 6 Samurai monster or one Shien effect monster from your deck or graveyard to your hand. That's really good. You can search Great Shogun Shien. I love it. I mean, you can already search Great Shogun Shien with a card like the 6, but I mean, this is way easier. Great Shogun Shien, very good floodgate card. So it's good to have a way to get it out easily enough. And yeah, I mean, before you just had to play 3 copies of it. Now you can just search it. That's fantastic. Second effect is a soft once per turn. So if you make multiple copies of Shien, you will get to use this multiple times. Once per turn, when your opponent activates a monster effect, as a quick effect, you can negate the activation, and if you do, destroy the monster. Okay, so I have personal experience with this. This is very similar to Crystalline Synchro Dragon, which is another monster that has a soft once per turn negate and destroy. I could go ahead and tell you that a soft once per turn negate and destroy is extremely, really, really powerful. However, it's important to note, this card is way, way easier to make than Crystal Wing. Crystal Wing requires a Synchro monster and is level 8. This requires a 6 Samurai monster, but all the 6 Samurai monsters special summon themselves, and it's only level 6. And you have a level 2 tuner and a level 3 tuner. So you have tons of ways that you can make this card. So you should play 3 of these, and you should get all 3 of them out. And you should just have 3 monster negates. That's it. That's all you need. You get your 3 monster negates out, you stop your opponent from doing anything, and then you play your Shien so they can only play 1 spell or trap, and then if they try and, summon monsters, you negate the first 3 summons with effects, and then when they're done, they have so many cards left, they're just like, okay, well, now I'm going to try and play the game. All their monsters' levels are reduced by 1, they can't do anything. So this is going to be really, really good. I can already tell. I'm really excited for this. If this card on the field will be destroyed by a battle card effect, you can destroy one other monster you control instead. That is a typical 6 Samurai effect. I mean, it's nice to be able to protect your monster negate from being destroyed, but it's a minor effect. Then we have Legendary Klesh's 6 Samurai Inishi. Cool. There are other Legendary Klesh's 6 Samurai. This is the level 6 Light Warrior Synchro monster. It has 1,700 attack points and 1,200 defense points. That is terrible. 1,700 attack points on a level 6 warrior monster. I don't really talk about stats too much, but warriors and dragons are like the 2 types of monsters that I really expect high attack points from. And for them to have no attack on a level 6 synchro monster is absurd. So we got 1 tuner plus 1 or more non-tuners. So this is a generic card, but the effect is not generic. So again, this is a card you're probably not going to see in a 6 Sam deck. If this card is Synchro Summon, you can banish any number of 6 Samurai monsters from your graveyard, then target that many monsters your opponent controls and bounce them. That's a cool effect. It's nice to be able to try and clear your opponent's board and go for lethal. Would be nice if your monsters had some attack points to do that with, and then the second effect kicks in. Warriors you control gain 500 attack and defense during the battle phase only. Okay, that's kind of a cool effect. So that means that Inishi itself technically has 2,200 attack points when it matters, I guess. But that's still not enough. It could have 2,200 attack points and also give a buff to everything. I just don't. This seems dumb. Like, why would you want to negate attack points, right? Because if your opponent just imperms this, then not only do you not get the balance, but you also don't get the attack points. At the very least, they could make it so that this card had 2,200 attack points and it buffed every other warrior monster you control. That could be nice. But the fact that you have to, that this card has to not be negated for it to have decent stat line as a warrior monster is completely unacceptable in my opinion. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon one of your banished 6 Samurai monsters. That's really, really strong. Nice effect. Alright, and then lastly we have the first of our 6 strike cards. I assume that there's going to be probably 6 of these. 6 strike double assault. This is a quick play spell card. You can only use the first effect of you can only use one of the first and second effects of this card's name once per turn, and only once that turn. Apply one of these effects if you control 2 or more 6 Samurai monsters. You can apply both in sequence. Okay, that's cool. Special summon a 6 Samurai monster with 2,000 or less attack from your hand or graveyard, and then change one monster your opponent controls with 2,000 or less attack to face down defense position. Okay, that's interesting. A Book of Moon effect is pretty nice, and it doesn't target, which is also really, really nice. It only works on monster with 2,000 or less attack, but for the most part, all the materials are going to be 2,000 or less attack anyway. it's not like you want to use this on a card like Barone de Fleur. You would want to prevent your opponent from making Barone in the first place by booking one of their important cards. So yeah, this is a good card. And the second effect, during your main phase, you can banish this card from your graveyard, target a 6 Samurai monster in your graveyard, and add it to your hand. That's amazing. That's really, really good. Okay, so these cards seem pretty good. Real quick, let's go ahead, because there's a reference here to 6 Samurai Quick Play spells. Let's take a look at what 6 Samurai Quick Play spells we have, so that we can determine if this will be any good. Okay, so there are apparently 5 6 Samurai Quick Plays. Oh, no, wait, no. There's only 4, because Double Assault is counts, I guess. Alright, let's take a look. So we have Asceticism of the 6 Samurai. Target a 6 Samurai monster you control, special summon a 6 Samurai monster with the same attack but a different name, and if you do, destroy during the end phase of this turn. That's really good. Special summon from the deck, that's probably what we're going to get. Cunning of the 6 Samurai. Send one face-up 6 Samurai monster you control to the graveyard, then target a 6 Samurai monster in either player's graveyard and special summon it. That's okay. You might play this at 1 because you can search it, but this first effect's much better. Secret Skills of the 6 Samurai. Send one monster you control to the graveyard, target one of your banished 6 Samurai monsters and special summon it. Okay. That could be good. You could potentially target a card that you want to go to the graveyard. Like, all your monsters have effects that trigger when they go to the graveyard, so that could be not terrible. And then you banish an important card from your graveyard, and then you revive 2 monsters because one of them gets summoned from the synchro monster going to the graveyard. The other one gets summoned from this. That's pretty cool. And then lastly, Scrolls of the 6 Scrolls of the Samurai. Tribute 2 face-up 6 Samurai monsters. Special summon a Great Shogun Shien from your deck. Okay, that's not good. Alright, so probably just Asceticism, which is fine. That's really, really good. Okay, cool. So then in that case, that's the deck. That's the cards. I am greatly looking forward to Anarchist Monk in particular. I think that Legendary Klesha 6 Samurai Shien will be a good card. The question is, how good will it be? How much value can you get out of a monster with only 2,500 attack points if it can negate everything? And it really comes down to how powerful Shien is. Because, like, I haven't seen Shien see too much play, basically ever. But Shien being searchable with a synchro monster that can protect is really, really good. And then there's also the potential of, we have this synchro monster that makes it so that you can only activate. So we have Shien, and Shien says you can only activate 1 monster effect per turn, or sorry, 1 spell or trap per turn. Then we have the synchro monster that says negate a spell or trap your opponent activates. So those 2 cards work together, obviously. Now we have a Shien monster negate, and it also searches as Shien. That could be an implication. It's just an implication. It could mean that we're going to get a Shien in the main deck that says the same thing as the current Shien, but only for monster effects. So, like, your opponent can only activate 1 monster effect per turn. If that's the case, and this card negates a monster effect and also draws the card that makes it so your opponent can only activate 1 monster effect, that's going to be crazy. It's just a guess. It's just a feeling that I have, because we don't know all the cards yet. But if that's what they're cooking, if that's what they intend to do, that's going to be so wild that 6 Sams will be one of the best decks in the meta, and I'm excited for that. All right, my name is Sarafi, and I was thrilled to have all of you with me.